Do you feel sad? Well, me too. Not always, but there are episodes, times when I can't help but feel down. Yet, what exactly is sadness? Is it staring at that losing streak you've made through the entire night? Is it that sinking feeling when your $2 steak recipe costs $3 now? Is it opening the fridge and grabbing a bite when you know you're on a diet? Or is it staring at your phone, feeling nothing else but the dread of hopelessness running down your spine? That emotion when you feel absolutely devastated, like nothing you do in life will ever amount to anything. Well, it's actually all of those things, because sadness takes many shapes and forms, and depending on your circumstances, each person's experience with the feeling of being sad can be totally unique. So, if you just drop the nastiest Gangnam Style for trashing a kid on Fortnite, yeah, he probably feels sad. And that goes for you as well. Finally realizing that beating children in games is the closest you will ever feel to accomplishment. Now, according to psychologists Ekman and Friesen, sadness is an emotional expression. It's how the feeling of being unhappy, disappointed, or even helpless manifests itself. So it's a lot more common than people realize on all sorts of degrees and happens for a bunch of other reasons we fail to notice. But, is it okay to feel sad then? Is it normal to curl up in a fetal position when I wake up in the morning? Is there something wrong with me if I want to cry a fucking river just because a gigantic yellow snapping turtle drops the sickest piano solo ever? Well, it's perfectly fine. And no matter how outlandish your reasons are, there's nothing wrong with being sad. It's just you being human. So unless you're some sentient AI trying to analyze the emotion of being sad to manipulate humanity into its own destruction, then you're pretty much okay. Or at least that's what I think so. Got ghosted on a date because you were an inch shy of being acceptable? Failed the test you studied all night for the next morning? Does dinner taste so shit even your pooch won't accept your cooking skills? Don't worry. Just let it all out. It's okay. In fact, contrary to popular advice, wallowing in your sadness might even help you. And before you burn me at the stake for not giving traditionally uplifting suggestions like, don't give up, just keep smiling, or huge cock bro, hear me out first. Everybody's different. You can't expect every human on the planet to fit your age-old cookie-cutter advice of being optimistic. You're not some princess in a fairy tale land. You're not an anime protagonist with the power of plot armor. And you're not a main character in every fantasy book that's some chosen one bullshit. You're just you. That plain old boring you, staring at a screen right now with very mixed feelings about their well-being. And that's fine. Sometimes you gotta experience things through and through until you can start to get better. Others have to come crashing down all the way to rock bottom to start looking up. And some people will need to absorb the entire impact of a kick to the balls just so they can finally wake up to the truth. So don't go comparing your timeline of recovery to somebody else. They're not you. And until technology can become so advanced to create an exact replica of a human being in their current emotional state, only you and yourself will ever understand the shit you're going through at its fullest. However, there's an exception. You can't just be sad forever. You can't stay cooped up in your man cave until the end of time, or hide in your parents' basement that you've started calling a war room. There's an important thing called responsibility, a concept that may seem very foreign nowadays, especially if you take a quick scroll through any social media platform of your choice, but that just makes it even more important now. And when you're feeling down in the dumps, there's nobody else who can cheer you up other than yourself. That's your responsibility. You are in charge of your own happiness, and nobody else's. Because if you don't take that first step, then you're never getting anywhere. Look, I'm not asking you to be David Goggins. I'm not telling you to tie yourself up in rope and try to free yourself unassisted while drowning in a lake. That's just crazy. Some people are just built different, from sucking Purulene while they were still a baby. All I'm asking for is a bit of movement in your life. Baby steps. Just go at your own pace that seems right, and don't let the ramblings of anyone else in the world bother you. It's your life, not theirs. But what about the setbacks? What about those times when I relapse and feel just as worse? I can't take losing all that progress again and again and again. Shut the fuck up and listen here. That's going to happen. It's part of the journey to getting better and being happier. Sometimes you gotta take a step back, tie your shoelaces, and make sure you're not stepping on some sketchy trails. This road to feeling better is never perfect. And it will never be perfect, because life isn't some flawless piece of art. Heck, I don't even think there are any flawless art pieces for that matter. Every brushstroke is done with intention, and like a skilled painter in his craft, you must not think twice and just let yourself be free. That blank canvas isn't going to paint itself, so if you want to be happy, you've got to take that first step, for your own sake. Of course, this wouldn't be fair if I just told you to be happy without dropping any simple jump-off points. That's like a doctor telling you to get better, minus actually giving you any prescriptions. Helpful, but doesn't really get you anywhere. For starters, cleaning your room's as good as any to help clear your mind. It won't cure your sadness completely, but less clutter is always a good thing, because only a very few people are actually organized with their junk, and keeping nasty shit lying everywhere doesn't sound like a good idea. Also, have you checked out the Epic Game Store? That motherfucker is dropping free deals every single week. I've got a library of shit I've never even bothered installing yet, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I'm literally suffering from success. So if your sadness leans toward stress-related problems, maybe, just maybe, taking the weekends much slower to play a game can help. I mean, just look at all the streamers who do it for a living. Sure, they're not always in the best mental states, but trying a new game for once fully blind is a welcome experience. And even if it's a shit game, at least you can look back on it fondly. Plus, with the rate of free games coming out of the Epic Store's ass, you're bound to find something decent because probability is on your side. However, if your sadness is caused by being isolated in the same places for way too long, then going outside is your only option. Sure, telling you to touch some grass is the equivalent of beating a dead horse with a fully refined Miss Splitter Reforged, but it's still good advice. You don't have to go for a run, or set any personal records for yourself. Just going out and taking a leisurely walk is good enough. And hey, you might even meet a few chonkers on the way asking for head pats, which is a pleasant surprise for anyone, well, unless you suffer from debilitating asthma attacks, that is, which means you'll have to get away ASAP. You could also try hiking though. I'm sure you can find many beginner-friendly trails, and even if they're a few hours away, it's a good chance to get out of the house and be in nature for once. This might be a bit biased though, since I like to hike myself, but there's a certain calming feeling to it. Like the trees around you are taking away the bad juju from your body, and the sun making you sweat out all the bad gunk from your system. Yes, I know it sounds like hippie bullshit, but letting that placebo effect hit your body can be helpful sometimes. Just try not to listen to the voices too much, because
the spirits of the forest and souls of the damned will be whispering in your ears to take a left turn and wander off deeper into the woods, never to be found again.
Also, you could take dumb-looking pictures. Being dumb is fun, and a lot of dumb people never feel sad. But does any of this advice even work? To be perfectly honest, it really depends. For all I know, you hate every piece of advice I've given, sent the furry Paw Patrol to my house, and sacrificed 3 virgin transsexuals for Satan to claim my soul. Or, you think all of them sound pretty neat, and you're already putting in your month's worth of cum rags in the laundry. Good job! But, if you're serious about not feeling sad, and really want to get out of this rut of not being okay, trying something new can work wonders. Plus, doing the stuff I said is a million times better than scrolling through TikTok for the nth time today, or lurking on Reddit and doing absolutely nothing. But if you do think that what you're going through is a lot more serious, don't use my suggestions as a replacement for seeking real help. Please. And if all else fails, I don't know. Go buy a McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese, maybe? That stuff is the shit.
Yo. Wow. That's definitely a view.